Okay, let's take a look at HAP and building floor plans. So you get a lot of choices here, but you get to put new buildings in. And the interesting thing is you can use existing features from other projects to build this building you're working on for this project. And by the way, it's still untitled up here, which means I didn't give this project a name. So when I get all done, I will not be saving it. But I can import floor plans, and that's a really cool way to do it with some AutoCAD files. I think it also does Revit. Um, and the way I'm going to show you to do it is we're going to use the building wizard to start with. So I'm going to click on that, and I may come back and do a plan for you or a video that shows how to import a file because you're going to want to have that. So anyways, we get this new pop-up window. Okay, everything with HAP is some sort of pop-up window. So this is where I told you earlier I was going to decide what type of building I was going to deal with. So in this case, we're going to do an office building, but we have school, healthcare, retail, lodging, religious, industrial, entertainment, and we get to also talk about the number of floors that are going to be there. So we're going to go with office. We're going to do a low rise, 1 to 2 stories. We're going to give it a building identifier as building 1. You can make up your own name for this one. So if it's a white box, you can add things to it. So I could change this out and go BLD, office. You're limited on characters, so I'm trying to figure out a good way to do this. OF. And I'll just give you that. Building shape. Well, we're going to do rectangular. We're going to do H. We could do L-shaped. We're going to do T-shaped. Let's do an L-shape because that's what our building kind of looks like. But what it does do is it allows you to size this thing. So that's what's really going to be important here because we got building dimensions that we have to put in. So currently the building dimensions are in the X1 direction 150 feet. The Y1 direction is 100 feet. X2 is 75 feet. So it's half of that where Y2 is 150 feet. So literally we can change this and, wrong screen. Let's try the right screen. Let's make it 100 feet. And the Y direction is going to become, let's make it 30 feet. Okay. Whoops, I got out of that. I want to come back. Previous. I got to stop. You can't. Statement here is be careful using the enter key. It's not what you want to use. You need to move your mouse around. All right, the other thing is it gave me a red warning here because this is too high. Max value can only be 20 feet. So we are going to make this one 20 because that's what that is. But the X2 dimension is more about, how do I want to do this? We're going to make it 75. We got first plan, we got 30. Now we're going to make it 40 feet. Okay. And then you'll get this. Click out with the mouse. Don't hit the enter key or it takes you on to the next step. Levels, we got one level. Height the level, 12 feet. This is funny because you got to think about the height of the level of the floor. So top of the floor to the bottom of the next floor. So I'll usually think of the floor joists is on the next floor as the bottom, but you want to try to account for is the amount of space in the heat load. So if you're going from top of floor to the next floor being 10 feet, then it's 10 feet with the joist is hanging down below that 10 feet. And then the ceiling to floor height is going to be 9 feet. That's, think of that to finish ceiling, okay? So that you wind up getting this number. So we're going to leave it at 12 and 9, but you can enter it in. This could be 10. Finish this 1 or 9 feet. Levels, we're going to do one level in this building, but if you do multiple levels, well, let's do multiple levels. Let's do 2, because we told it was a 1 to 2 story building. Now that gives us 12 feet to 12 feet on the finished grade, and we have windows of being about 20%. You can change this so you can have more windows, and ideally all the windows usually in a commercial building are the same size, so the majority of them are going to be something you simply put in, and 20% of the wall space is great. If you remember back into the fall semester when we talked about heat loads, I gave you the 80-20 rule. 80% of the wall is insulation, 20% of the wall is studding. This is the same scenario. 20% of the wall is windows now. So anyway, so that'll just help calculate things. But you want to be careful with that 20%. Number of spaces created, 1. Well, we want to make this into about 6. Oops. We gotta have 6. Number lock. Okay, I'm sorry, that's a grayed out number. I'm not going to be able to do that until I fix something else up here. Oh, right here, zoning methods. So number of zones. So we really want to come up with how many more areas there are. Number of spaces created, 2. Based on that, it's because we have 2 levels, but we want to do, right now what it has is 1 zone per foot for the block. We want to do perimeter and a core, and we're going to get that, which also gives me problems over here, so we can't do that on exposures with corners, and we have some issues here that got to get taken care of. It does not like 30 feet. Why does it not like 30 feet? L-shaped. Just out of curiosity, went back to rectangular. That one works. And then we could do perimeter and core. That gives us that. So perimeter and core, by the way, if you do this rectangular, is the outside edges. And the core is going to be the same temperature as everything else in that. But if we do exposures with corners, it helps us divide this into these kind of zones. So these aren't our actual room assignments that we're going to put in, but they do define the zones that we're going to try and heat with. So I'm going to leave that there, but I still like to do an L-shaped building just to make that work. So it did it. I don't know why. Oh, I know why I did it, because it went back to its default measurements. Okay. We'll have to play with that and figure out why they were giving me the red warnings on those numbers. But basically what you see here is I got zone 1, zone 2, zone 3, zone 4, zone 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and then I have a core that's 12. Okay. All right, so that does that. Now what that does is create 24 spaces for me. Okay. And we're going to say next. And now what we get is user-defined spaces. Okay, so we're going to go take a look at this. Again, we got to pick the usage of the space. It's offices. Oh, my head office is right there. Main entry lobby. Okay, so if you had one room that's an office lobby, you'd want to put that in as something separate. We're going to just do office spaces here, but literally, let's go back here for a minute before I get to reception area. Office spaces. Office, telephone, and data entry. Okay, so you can see the different types of rooms assembly that there are here. So there's a retail barbershop. There's crazy things that you can pick. I don't want to say crazy things, but generally we're going to go office spaces. Okay. Now what it does is it brings in, because I use 62.1 and 2019 standard, it's going to give me the data that requires for space ventilation. So in this particular case, it's 5 CFM per person, and the requirement for square footage is 0.06 CFM per square foot. So I'll make sure that I get enough ventilation in there under standard 62.1 to make sure that everybody's going to be happy. And we'll talk more about how ventilation fits into air handlers in the long run, but right now just assume these numbers are the right numbers, and I will show you how it's calculated in another class. All right, occupancy, 200 square feet per person. Okay, well, Notice the min there is 0.1 square foot per person. So literally, architects know that if you're at a desk, you actually get 3 square feet per person. And that's how many people you could cram into these spaces. Reality is, we're never going to cram one person into 3 square feet. Um, that would be a foot and a half by foot and a half, which is basically just standing next shoulder to shoulder with somebody. So we're going to give this a little better number. Let's put it down as 20 square feet. Nuts. All right, I got carried away and I hit enter again. So stop doing that. Come back over here. We're going to pick up on our building. We're going to come into this one and we're going to modify things because we're on the general, and I really shouldn't have hit the enter space. Great. Now that I screwed that up, yeah, the good thing is you can see the 12 feet here. I have the 9 foot to the ceiling, and the glazing's 3 feet off the floor. Okay, great. Floor plan is this thing. That's what we were working on earlier. I got really thrown out of the for loop. I may have to go back and start this video again, but I can edit this thing. Let's say I really want to move this. I can edit things in here. Orientation to the north. Well, we're going to go orientation to the north is to the right. See the rose compass over here moved around? And that puts this side to the north. This side becomes south. Okay. I think this is also movable. No, I guess it's not as movable as I thought it was. So we can do exact angles. Can tell we got north sitting at 36 degrees. Okay, and it moves that to where it was. Okay, we're working on north being 0 up here, so 36 is over here, and then east is 90, so on. That just changes your solar gain on this. So literally, zone 10 down here is going to get a lot of sunlight all day long. All right, set the scale. We're going to set what it default as. Scale is 100 feet. Let's set it to 1 inch equals 1 foot. Okay, then we have a scale to it. All right. That doesn't still not what I wanted to get back to, but it is things that you need to know. So you can say OK on this. Do you want to automatically make corresponding corrections to the level? Yep. Say level 2's got to be the same. And it just tells you it made those. All right, levels in here. So it defines places for you to do things. It labeled all the windows that were in this particular building. You'll have to give it an exact number of windows when we get down to windows. We can edit this column. So let's say it's not 3 feet. Let's say it's something else. Do the size of it. I should ceiling space. We could also have raised floor. So that's where all the mechanical systems are under the floor, and that's raised off the structural floor of the building, but up to make it easier. Instead of crawling overhead, you crawl under the floor. Wall, oops, what did I forget to do? Say okay. Walls and spaces. So if you wanted to, you can actually draw this in here. So let's do that to here. I can add another zone in that, but it's kind of a dumb thing to do right now. But I can draw in this. I can draw the floor plan, and when I'm doing, all right, I want to undo that. Okay, can't delete it. I can do this. Get out of there. All right, you gotta delete line by line. Okay, so we're good there. So but you can draw this space in by yourself using these commands. Okay. Openings, this is where you get to define your list of openings, spaces, guidelines, wall group, floor plans. We are literally editing the list. So if you want to change your list to windows so that the height of B here is, this one's 2 feet 4 and 3/16 of an inch high. Say you want to make this 5 feet, then you're good. The width is 19. Let's make it 3 feet. Okay, and elevation from sea up, we'll call it 3 foot 3. That's 36, and 3 is 39 inches off the floor, which is usually a good measurement. So we're going to leave that there. Okay, that was window 1. Now we can do it to window 2. We can do it to window 3. We can also bulk edit all these if we wanted to. I'm not going to go in there and do that today. All right. All right. We're going to close this feature, and I can add more windows. I can add doors. I can add other things to this. Okay. So on, and then I can do it as a 3D model, and it'll show you what we're looking at. So basically you get that scenario. And we're going to say okay. Oh, we got some errors in here. So validation errors 32. Well, we're going to save and exit, but I want to go see what these are. So I'm going to say no. And openings. Openings exceed the width of the wall. Okay, so that's a problem. That's for all the levels. Basically, the windows are screwed up. Okay, that's why these guys are sticking out all over the place, these green lines. It doesn't know what to do with itself. All right, so in all things that are screwed up, openings, we need to try to fix the openings. I may come back, just do a different video on that. So I'm going to say yes, accept. All right. So that gives us our building. Okay. And we have all things related to it. So floor plan. We got our different levels. So we got 2 levels to this thing. We got space. We got the roof. We got openings, which are still screwed up. And I'll come back and do a different video on that one. We're going to say okay. And yes, I'm going to save without it. So that's the basics on the building structure and the layout. So I'm going to stop this video, and we'll come back and